I never thought I'd be the kind of guy writing one of these posts. I'm 48, a dad of two, married, living in the Midwest. For most of my life, I was the definition of average. Average income, average house, average debt. I wasn't unhappy exactly, but I always felt like I was running on a treadmill. Work, bills, groceries, repeat. Here's the weirdest part. The thing that finally got me out of the rat race wasn't some genius invention or lottery ticket. It was garage shelves. I literally made money selling wood planks with holes in them. It started as a dumb side project. My garage was a disaster, tools everywhere, cords tangled, boxes stacked. I built this really simple wooden wall organizer for my drills and wrenches because I couldn't afford one of those $300 metal setups. A buddy came over, saw it, and asked if I could make him one. Then another friend asked. Long story short, I threw a few photos on Etsy. I think I charged $39.99 for the first one, mostly to cover materials. I didn't expect anything to happen. Who the hell buys handmade shelves online? Well, apparently thousands of people. At first it was slow, 1 or 2 orders a week. Then the pandemic hit and suddenly everyone was at home, cleaning their garages, fixing up their houses. One of my customers made a TikTok showing my shelf with his perfectly lined up tools. The video went viral. Overnight, my inbox blew up with orders. Orders didn't just increase, they exploded. I went from sanding 2 shelves in my garage after work to realizing I just sold 600 units in a week. I literally laughed when I saw the order count. There was no way I could build that many. My wife thought Etsy glitched. I had a choice. Shut it down or scale up. Something in me snapped awake. I hadn't felt that alive in decades. I rented a tiny workspace, bought better tools, hired 2 college kids part-time. By the end of the year, I had a legitimate small business. The numbers didn't even feel real. My first full year, revenue cleared $400,000. Second year, we hit 7 figures. I paid off my mortgage, bought a used F-150 cash, and for the first time in my life, I had money sitting in my bank account without an immediate bill waiting to eat it. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The money is only half the story. The way people change around you, that's the wild part. Some of it was funny. Old high school buddies who never gave a damn about me suddenly popped up in my DMs like, "Bro, long time no talk. We should grab beers." A cousin I hadn't heard from in 15 years called me out of the blue to pitch some can't-miss investment in crypto mining. I swear he didn't even ask how I was doing first. Even my co-workers acted different. For years, I was the quiet guy at the office nobody cared to invite to happy hour. Once word got out that I had a successful business on the side, people suddenly treated me like I'd been secretly brilliant all along. Same people who used to cut me off in meetings were now asking for my insight. But the part that hit me hardest was how strangers reacted. I bought a nicer truck. Not crazy, just a clean used F-150. Shiny, red, in good shape. First time I pulled into the same gas station I'd been going to for years. The cashier, who barely made eye contact before suddenly smiled, complimented the truck, asked me how my day was. Same guy, same gas station, but now I'm worth talking to? Restaurants too. My family and I used to get the bare minimum of service, nothing rude, just indifferent. The moment I started dressing a little better, driving a better car, suddenly the hostess remembered my name. The waiter brought us extra bread without being asked. Sounds petty, but it makes you realize how transactional basic human kindness can be. And then there were the darker sides. My younger brother, who'd always struggled with money, basically stopped talking to me unless it was about loans. I said no once, just once, and he didn't call for months. Old friends joked about me buying the next round every single time we met, like I was suddenly their ATM. The money gave me freedom, sure, but it also pulled this curtain back on human behavior that I honestly wasn't ready to see. Here's the part one didn't expect. Getting rich didn't feel like winning. Not really. Don't get me wrong. I sleep better at night now. I don't lie awake wondering how I'm going to cover the car repair or if the credit card bill is going to wreck us this month. That anxiety is gone, and that alone feels like a superpower. But beyond that, the person in the mirror is still me. Same crow's feet around the eyes, same back pain when I wake up. I'm still the guy who forgets where he left his phone. Money didn't upgrade my brain or my personality. What it did upgrade was how people around me treat me. And honestly, that's been harder to swallow than the years of being broke. Because it makes you realize how conditional a lot of people's kindness is. It wasn't that I became more interesting or funny or charismatic at 48. I just became useful. I became worth knowing. There was one moment that stuck with me. My daughter, she's 19 in college, came home for winter break. We were sitting at the kitchen table, and she asked me if I was happy. Not about the money, just happy. I didn't know how to answer. I told her I was proud of building something real, that it felt good to know I could provide. And she just nodded and said, "You know, Dad, you were always enough for us, even when you thought you weren't." That hit me harder than any bank balance. Because for decades, I measured myself by what I lacked. Not enough money, not enough success, not enough to show for the grind. And here was my kid, reminding me that all along, the thing that mattered most was just being there, being steady. I think about that a lot when I see the way the world shifts around wealth. Strangers treating me like royalty because I drive a newer truck. Family resenting me because I won't hand over free money. Friends sizing me up like I'm their ticket out. And then my daughter, looking at me the exact same way she did when I used to come home in a grease-stained shirt, dead tired, and still make her mac and cheese at midnight. The weirdest twist of all is how isolating success can feel. I spent most of my life dreaming about what it would be like to finally make it. And now that I have, I catch myself missing the days when nobody expected anything of me, when a beer with a buddy wasn't a test of whether I'd pick up the tab. Back then, I felt invisible. Now, I feel like a wallet with a face. But here's the truth. Money didn't make me happier. It made me freer. There's a difference. Happiness, it turns out, was always in the little things. The late-night talks with my wife, the smell of sawdust in the garage, the sound of my kids laughing in the back seat of a beat-up sedan. I just couldn't see it through the fog of financial stress. If you're still grinding, still waiting for your big break, I guess my advice is this. Don't bet your whole sense of worth on a payday, because the world might clap for you once you have money, but the applause is shallow. The people who loved you when you had nothing, that's the real wealth. So yeah, I got rich at 48 selling garage shelves. But the richest I've ever felt was hearing my daughter say I was enough long before that.